question that I received this week was about posture. Posture means positioning, and the positioning of our body really matters. In the course of our life, we have these forces that are around us. Specifically gravity is putting a tremendous amount of pressure on our body, on our head, on our positioning. And so this downward force of pressure is invisible. We can't see it. And so because we can't see it, maybe perhaps people are not so aware that it's playing a significant role in the way that their body is being affected. In addition to that, there are a lot of surfaces that we're walking on that are they're hard, whether they're cement sidewalks or they're tile floors, asphalt. These are man-made, people-made surfaces that cause there to be no give in the support underneath us. And so when we walk, we're walking on these hard surfaces, and if we don't have good shoes on our feet and our feet are not in a good position, then we start having wear and tear on our knees and our hips and our feet and our back, and it's just kind of cumulative from there. But posture is this understanding of that there's this elongation that we need to have in the body to be able to extend up, because gravity only moves in one direction, which is straight down. And in the effect of gravity on our body, we're not always going to be able to be in the best positioning, but we should try to do that. The most common areas where people are having difficulty is when they're sitting at a computer. I would say sitting at a computer, and also kids who are looking down at their phones. Those are two main critical moments in time that are affecting people right now. So in the building where we practice, there's the building outside of COVID-19 normally has about 7,000 people, and the same problems keep coming through our doors. The same problem keeps presenting to us, and it always starts with posture. Invariably, if a person is sitting in front of a computer, they're slunched over, or they're in some other compromising position that starts putting pressure on their neck and their shoulders and into their arms and the nerves that come off of their neck. So, the weight, we've talked before in different videos about how the weight of the head weighs between 10 and 15 pounds. Because of the weight of the head, we want to get the head up over the shoulders. This chronic movement of the head forward, again, in front of the computer, looking down at the phone. You're in the kitchen, you're chopping vegetables, or you're preparing a meal, you're looking down. I've had this conversation with people who are studying to be chefs. They're constantly looking down. So look at the position that you spend most of your time. And the goal here is to get the head up nice and tall up over the shoulders. So one of the exercises that I give people is to stand against a wall. The wall is going to be the most vertical object in a room. And so to spend a minute or two standing against the wall with your arms spread out to the side is one way that you can counterbalance this force that's on the body. So, the bigger issue beyond posture is this idea or this understanding that there's deterioration, there's degeneration that happens. And if we look at, people who are diagnosed with arthritic changes in the spine, those arthritic changes in the spine is driven by the positioning of the body. When the positioning of the body is weak, it's going to cause weakness in the joints. It's going to cause a breakdown in the way that our body is behaving. When we're younger, or at least when I was younger, I was athletic, and I was physically active, and I was pushing my body more than I currently am now. there was really no attention on the positioning of the body. I can remember having certain injuries playing soccer or tennis, and there was really it was more so whether I had pain or not, as opposed to whether or not my shoulder or my knee or my ankle was working as well as it could. So in evaluating athletes and in evaluating our youth as they're growing, their body is changing, and our bodies are all changing. But certainly when we're growing up and we're physically active and we have injuries and accidents and sprains, strains, in some cases dislocations and concussions, this is cumulative over time. And because it's cumulative over time, there's this ongoing effect that can happen, that does happen, and I can't speak it any clearer here, but gravity is this constant downward force, and so for us to really lengthen, stand against the wall, to hold our body in a more upright, more vertical position, right? So when you're in a vertical position, you're perpendicular to gravity. Gravity can only move through you, as opposed to if you're bent over and your body is putting pressure on the back of the head. And what that ends up doing, at least as far as the spine goes, is putting pressure on the base of the neck. So it's very common that people will get knots in their shoulders. Well, a lot of knots in shoulders has to do with your head positioning. And so if this is a problem that you're having, then to get your neck up over your shoulders is a really positive step that you can take. There are two areas of the spine that are most prone to problems in all human beings, and one of these areas is the base of the neck. The other is down in the lower back. So when we're looking at the positioning of getting our lower back, our head up over our lower back, these two spots are very important to make sure that they are in the right position, so that we don't cause undue wear and tear over the course of our life. And sometimes before we have the wear and tear, it creates weakness in the tissue. It creates weakness in the lower back. And one of the statistics that's really real is that low back disability is the number one cause of disability in the world. And so because that's true, it's more than respiratory issues. It's more than cases of malaria or other immune-related problems or pathogenic problems in the world. Low back disability takes more people out of work than any other aspect of living. So in the lower back, we really want this evenness, this balance through the lower back to help to protect the discs and protect the nerves and make sure we're not putting undue pressure on our body. As our body changes throughout life, it's not uncommon for our spine to change, for our posture to change, and especially if you look at older people who are all leaned over, it's like they didn't get the message. They didn't get the message that gravity was making a play on them. And even young kids who are looking down at their phone all the time, I'm concerned that our next generation is going to have a significant increase in the number of structural, neurological, and degenerative problems in the neck and through the spine and through the lower back. And this is just, I can see the writing on the wall. I see what's happening with society right now. Problem has gotten much worse over the course of the last 10 or 15 years, especially as more people are using phones and more people are on laptops and more people are in kind of mobile environments where they're moving from one place to another. They're not sitting in front of just a computer. They're sitting on a laptop, and the laptop is sitting low on the desk and people are looking down at it, as opposed to raising up that monitor so that it's in a better positioning. So positioning is not just about the human body, it's also about your surrounding. So when we're looking at, say, an office environment, ergonomics is the positioning of your equipment, your computer, your mouse, your keyboard, your monitor, and any other electronics that you may be interacting with. The height of your desk, if you're standing on your feet, do you have a pressure pad under your feet? There are steps that you can take to preserve your body, but the initial question was about posture and the effect on the human body. We're just going to have to do better, and I'm starting this conversation so that you can begin to understand the parts that are affected by how you use your body, and you may not even realize that your body is actually out of symmetry, out of balance, and it's not in a good positioning, and there are solutions to that, and that's not part of this conversation. We're really just talking about posture. But I really, I believe that we need to get smarter in the way that we're looking at our activities and our movement and the preservation of our body and how we age and how our body changes over the course of time. Because what I'm telling you right now is it's not being communicated to our youth. It's not being communicated to our young adults. It's not being communicated to our adults, to our aging population. And when you understand this, you can really make a significant change in the way that your body ages over time. And this will improve the quality of your life, improve the quality of your health, slow down the effect of aging on the human body. So that's what I have to tell for you today. We're talking about posture and aging and healthy living, and that's what I want to say today. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and thanks for the question.